Thank you very much, Professor Song, for your kind introduction. And it's a great honor for me to be here to give a presentation to this wonderful global summit. It's my first time here, and it's quite impressive. So let's start. My title is Smart TV and Beyond, Its Standardization and Market Trends. Before I go, I'll just briefly introduce myself a little bit. As I wrote in my bio, I'm currently a professor at Keio University, which is a university in Japan. But I've been working at the telco and also in standardization as well as development and R&D. So I will touch on some of the things that I've done in this area. So background, the world seems to be full of IP connected TV and set-top devices such as smart TV, connected TV, internet TV, web TV, hybrid TV, OTT, over-the-top IPTV. So the question naturally arises, what are they? So what's smart TV? From an expert's perspective, smart TV can be defined as something like typically a TV set that allows internet-based content, typically video services involving social networking, games, interactive advertisement, in addition to traditional broadcast TV channels. Smart TV typically allows the user to install and run apps or plugins and add-ons based on a specific platform, such as Android. It usually has smarter look and feel on its navigation, such as EPG, Electronic Program Guide, and user interface which resembles a web page or that of a smartphone. So this is an expert's view of what a smart TV is. Okay, so this is a typical smart TV look and feel. So Samsung and LG are the primary leaders. They first announced smart TV in Europe in 2010, and a big movement in 2011 after the US introduction at the CES. And in addition to broadcast content from third party like Netflix, YouTube, and so on, are provided, and interactive apps can be downloaded. And this is another view of LG Android-based TV sets. This is a smart TV. And as with smartphones, nowadays Android-based smart TV sets are getting more popular. So these are sort of an expert's view. And also Google TV, we can probably call it a type of smart TV. But from a user's perspective, it doesn't really matter whether it's IP connected or just traditional digital broadcast, because can't tell the difference. They can't tell the difference. Or is it hybrid of IP and digital broadcast? Whether it's internet-based, like OTT, or walled garden model, like telco IPTV, or broadcast, they can't tell the difference. Whether it's unicast, video on demand, or multicast, like channel service, as in a traditional broadcasting, they can't tell the difference. As long as it looks good and gives his favorite program content service, it's okay. So that's all he wants. And any TV set that looks smart and intelligent and maybe interactive, then that can be called a smart TV. That's the user's perspective. So from that perspective, we don't really know what's inside. So, in a sense, widget TV that was introduced by Yahoo in 2008, this is sort of like a smart TV already. Another one is HBB TV. It's a hybrid broadcast broadband TV, which has pretty good, nice look and feel on the user design. And even digital broadcasting, this is something from an actual Japanese program which has data connection so that advertisement can be delivered over broadcasting. So more and more digital broadcast data programs emulate smart TV look and feel. So from this perspective, smart TVs are just TV sets with smart looking interface. So now the problem is the market is fragmented, especially confusion among the consumer. They can't tell the difference between LG Smart TV and Google TV and even digital TV. And also there is a cost on the content provider because there are so many different platforms. So that means if they want to provide content, they need to adapt to those platforms and they need to provide content for different proprietary platforms. And then lack of content from the side of the user because sometimes you just get the same content every day, same old content anywhere, like you only watch YouTube. And lack of interoperability, because as I said, everything is pretty much proprietary in the smart TV domain. And lack of a big media that sort of provides content to smart TV infrastructure, because there is none. So that means we need to have a standard, need for standard. So current situation of smart TV calls for a global set of standards to monetize from the market. The standardization itself is, why do we need to standardize? The most prominent reason is lower cost. It will lower the costs. And then the market will be bigger, wider market, and better quality of service and experience, and more concerted security because you have standards so people can join in and fill the gaps. And it's open, standardized infrastructure. And innovation and new services are promoted by standards. For example, this morning I just mentioned the standardized HTML and HTTP protocols. They give us the World Wide Web. So without the standardized protocols and data format, we couldn't have this creative web. And also, there are pros and cons of proprietary solution. And people, and many content providers also, and service providers, as well as manufacturers, think of pros like more versatility and adaptability because you can make your own, your control, and more resource and control on the terminal, and easier differentiation because you can make something different from other people, other competitors. But there are cons, like more expensive for the service side because from the service provider side, as I said, they have to provide different content, different formats for different platforms. But it's not just for the service provider, but also for the manufacturers as well, because they have to differentiate, make different things, even for a fragmented market. And more limited in number because you can't take the whole market itself, but you just limit yourself to a certain portion of the market, even if the potential market is big enough. And another thing is more control means more responsibility, especially for troubleshooting. If something bad happens, then you're responsible and not other people. If it's standardized, maybe the standard is to be blamed, but if it's not, then you're the one who is to be blamed. So that means there is more operation cost involved. So need for standards. So now this is what I would like to introduce. This is the International Telecommunication Union, ITU. A UN agency is one of the that can potentially give such a set of standards already. And now I'd like to introduce the standard. ITU is actually, many of you may not know what ITU is, so I will just explain briefly. It's the United Nations Agency for Telecommunication, Broadcasting, and ICTs. It's the world's first international organization established in 1865 So it's even older than the United Nations itself. And there are 193 government organizations, members, as well as regulatory bodies, and also more than 700 private sector members, as well as more than 20 academia members. And you can see here, this one, yeah. This is UN Secretary Mr. Ban Ki-moon, and this is ITU Secretary General Mr. Hamadun Touré. So they're like cousins. They don't look like, but they're like cousins in terms of profession, okay? So, and ITU has different sectors, and the General Secretariat is the coordination of the old sectors, and ITUR is radio spectrum, so it controls broadcasting, regulates broadcasting and also assigns satellite orbits and things like that. ITUD is for ITU development countries, so they promote ICT development in developing countries. And ITUT is the standardization sector that develops ICT standards, especially for telecommunications. So this is where this ITU, IPTV, and SmartTV standardization comes into. Standard IPTV, as I mentioned, may be taken as a smart TV market driver. So as I said, from the user's perspective, IPTV and smart TV don't look so different. They can be pretty much the same. So from now on, I would talk about smart TV as if it were IPTV. And standardized IPTV is like a feature that will allow a wide range of selection and variety of terminals and retail market because it's standardized. So that means IPTV can be provided over not just for TV sets, but also for set-top box, tablet, smartphones. So that means standardized IPTV will allow low resources terminals as well as high-end terminals and easier efficient content provisioning for different devices because it's standardized. So these features of standardized IPTV, and if you take it as a sort of an application type of feature, will put smart TV in the converged market not only of conventional content business, but also of various related services like e-health and e-learning, which I will be touching on later on, as the hub of all these Internet of Things and Internet Everything infrastructure. And also, it will enable a creation of a media for new business models. So this is the IPTV value chain. You have content provider, service provider, network provider, and end user. And ITU's IPTV standards cover all of these value chain of the IPTV ecosystem, which includes most likely smart TV here. And ITU has been working with other organizations such as IEC, Digital Video Broadcasting in Europe, and MPEG, and Broadband Forum, and W3C for web technologies, so that the standards can be transferred easily to other standardization bodies. This is one of the recommendations we call standards that ITUT has produced. It's called H.264 AVC. It is a well-known video compression standard widely used in IPTV and smart TV. It's a joint work between ITUT and ISO-IEC, MPEG. So sometimes it's called MPEG-4 AVC, but in ITU it's called H.264. It's the same thing. And this is another recommendation called H.265, which is HEVC, a successor to H.264, and it's a high efficiency video coding. And its technical content has been established and finalized in January 25 last year. And up to twice the data compression ratio of H.264 can be provided. And it's actually being used in new services such as 4K broadcasting as well as IPTV. So it's a new standard that came from ITU. And there's another one which is related to IPTV. It's called H.721. It's IPTV terminal. It defines a terminal like TV sets, set-top box, and so on for basic IPTV services such as video on demand and linear TV. It's based on managed network, but also can be used for OTT, for the internet. It's available from different vendors. It's products compliant to this standard are available from different vendors in open markets in millions of TV sets and set-top boxes. Currently, the only standard in the world for IPTV terminal actually implemented and deployed in services. Currently, a proposed recommendation in IEC as well. IEC is another United Nations agency for terminals. And this is how it looks in the actual product. ITUT H.721 standardized smart TV. So all you have to do is actually just buy the terminal and connect an Ether cable for IP connection. Then you can get built-in set-top box functions like video on demand and apps. So H.721 terminals support smart TV features and enables easy extension and migration from digital TV. Manufacturers can choose design additional features like for example, audio, or more features like hybrid. And also a good thing is it supports multiple service providers, so you don't have to buy many TV sets to get different services and new services. And these are some examples of terminals that are compliant with H.721 already in the market. As I said, it can be implemented in set-top boxes, connected TV or smart TV, or even PC. And some of the devices are wireless because people don't like to have wired TV sets. So there is wireless H.721 IPTV. This is really a smart TV-like H.721 device, which is provided by Panasonic. So you can actually download apps as well as you can receive broadcasting, as well as social networking, as well as IPTV. And they can be, H.721 can also be implemented on PC. This is a game console, and this is, I think it's a DVD player. So different terminals can support the same standard, and they can talk to each other. And also, you can implement H.721 on smartphones as well as tablets. So there are many different devices, so that means you can pretty much make one content and distribute over different devices from the content provider's perspective. And this is the newest addition to the H.721 series from different vendors. This one supports H.265, which I just mentioned, and 4K video on demand. So now H.721 is being amended to include 4K, H.265, and MPEG-Dash to provide a reliable service over the internet. And I will now give you some ideas of what a standard-based IPTV services are, especially in the case of Japan and other places. Japanese telco NTT started its IPTV service called Hikari TV through its subsidiary NTT Plala based on ITU standards in 2009. And now its subscriber base is growing and it's reaching 3 million in 2013. And their service includes video on demand, channel service, high definition channel service, karaoke, gaming, network gaming, TV shopping, and so on, in addition to digital terrestrial broadcasting. and their service is received by different devices, as I mentioned, in addition to their own set-top box. So tablets, smart TV, open set-top box, PC, smartphones. Oh, okay, this is the same. So this is, and now I will show you some additional services that are possible on standardized IPTV or smart TV. So this is very simple, interactive shopping. So NTT Plala is providing a platform for a TV shopping channel where you can actually buy products on the TV set. So interactivity is provided by web-based standard like HTML from the web consortium. So you come from IP broadcast to IPTV portal like web page, and then you select and buy a product on an IPTV. There's another service called karaoke. As you know, karaoke is a very popular pastime in Japan, and NTT Plala is providing this kind of microphone and also amplifier to make your voice louder, and they provide this caption to the video, and you can buy, I think it's $5 per month to all you can sing, and it's quite popular. So this is also possible on an IPTV terminal, which is sold in the open market. And this is the newest service. It's an IPTV service for 4K video. So Hikari TV started its 4K video on-demand service on October 27th this year, so that's only 2 weeks old, and it's just started. And as I mentioned, these TV sets are already available in the market, and they provide HEVC, H.265, and other new standards installed. And so far, I just mentioned services actually being done in Japan over a standardized IPTV, but there are other services targeted at new service deployment globally on the ITU standard based on IPTV. Some are for commercial deployment, others are still longer-term research stage. Pre-deployment commercial trials are being done for expats in Japan, expats like from the Philippines, from Taiwan, from other places. They provide content, but they used to provide content over satellite, but they're switching to IPTV because of the cost. And they don't want to provide set-top boxes. They just use TV sets for their IPTV service. There's another area in which IPTV is being tried. It's for Listen with Your Eyes TV. It's a broadcaster for people with hearing disabilities. And they need to have sign language and closed captioning that will be provided by IPTV. So this is the regular TV program, and this is the caption, and this is the sign language, which is provided by IP, over IP. This is a very cost-effective way to provide inclusive support because you don't have to have your own set-top box. And this is done on a TV set. And ITU is also promoting an IPTV global testbed across the globe from Geneva, starting from Geneva here, especially in developing countries, to test IPTV platforms locally as well as globally. So it's here in Geneva, in Tokyo, and Sapporo, Manila. This is Penang, Bangkok, Penang, Singapore, Dubai, and this is Johannesburg. And there are more countries trying to join. So I'll show you some of the content that they're trying. Singapore has been trying this testbed for many years now, and it's the institute called Institute for Infocom Research. They developed a smart shopping app and smart home environment for IPTV testing. And this is IPTV application on an, that would tell you, allow you to buy a product on on IPTV, as well as recommend shops, and also show the Google map where the shop is located. So this allows, for example, the aged people staying home to interact and buy things on an IPTV. This is another example from Singapore. It gives clinics information on an IPTV. This is another monitoring for traffic information in Singapore. This is how it looks on when there's a traffic jam, or the camera scene is given over IPTV. This is smart home application, which turns off and on lights in home, also from Singapore. This is face recognition on IPTV. So these are Singapore, and this one is from the Philippines. They are using IPTV to try to teach people how to react in disaster situation for disaster risk reduction. So as you can see, in developing countries, I think they're more interested in not just in entertainment, but they're more interested in e-governments and other more what they call valuable things. And one of the things, I think this is from beyond part. So far I've been talking about the current state of IPTV, but from now on I will talk about what can be expected and beyond. But before I go, I just want to mention one thing, which is I call a lesson from I mode and L mode. I mode is a very famous, I mode is the world's first mobile internet service, and used to be very successful in Japan, where it started in 1996, and in France as well. It provides mails, GPS, web, JavaScript, Java apps, and things like that on a mobile phone like this one. And NTT Docomo is the largest wireless internet service provider as of January 2006, thanks to this service. And because of this great success of NTT Docomo, NTT East and West came up with this idea called L mode, which is an internet access service on fixed phones and fax machines provided by NTT East and West, which was started in 2001. NTT East and West are local landline providers. So they're traditional telcos, not mobile operator. It was modeled after NTT Docomo's iMode service, emulated on fixed terminals. The service was terminated in 2004. Only lasted 3 years. Why? Because nobody bought. Because iMode was so useful, because you can send mails on your mobile phone, talk to your people, and you can use GPS and things like that. It was very cool. You could watch videos and send messages and things like that. But if it's on a fax machine, what's the use of GPS? So they didn't realize, NTT East and West, they thought, oh, iMode is so popular, so if we, emulate the same service model onto this fax machine, then we will, we'll get more ARPU, right? But actually it didn't happen. It's obvious, because iMode was popular because it was on a mobile phone. So I think we have to be careful about smart TV. Smart TV and smartphones are similar, but they're very different from a service perspective. Mobile smartphones, it's more private, personal, mobile, highly interactive, and lean forward. This is what you usually call lean forward, lean backward. TV set is open, shared with other family members, and it's stationary, and it's lean back. You don't want to be interrupted while you're watching a TV, movie. Then you don't want to be interrupted. So smart TV should be targeted at the intersection of this kind of services. And so, how can we make use of smart TV? And I think smart TV will be a great information interface for, especially for home IoT Internet of Things, M2M situation, especially in a household where aged people reside. So we had cameras, we had smartphones, we had refrigerators connected with smart TV, but eventually we'll have home appliances like cameras, surveillance cameras, and things like that also connected with smart TV. But eventually also for e-health devices, like healthcare devices connected with that smart TV, especially for older people, for monitoring. So from the old age, TV set has been a universal interface, familiar to both young and old, accessible to a wide range of population without special training. It's the universal user interface for various services, including games, and especially suitable for the aged person because the remote controller is the only interface you need. Well, e-health is a very urgent issue because of the economy. I will skip this slide. But for e-health, there are two very important areas. One is information seeking. People seek for information about, for example, cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure. So many people, especially older people, try to use internet, but most likely they fail. And there's another area which is very important in e-health, it's monitoring. So for example, if you monitor a person with diabetes 10% better, then there will be 37% reduction in cost, medical cost in the United States. So this means better monitoring will save billions of US dollars per year. And so monitoring and information seeking are two areas where e-health would be more beneficial, very immediate. But for older people, information seeking is very difficult because sometimes they feel they're not able enough. Sometimes there's a security issue, and then they cannot trust the information that they have. And then the internet itself is sort of complex, and they fear. And also, information seeking itself demands many cognitive skills. You have to remember, short-term memory has to be good, and things like that. And then you have to reason, you have to figure out the keywords and things like that. So reasoning, working memory, perceptual speed, all of these cognitive things are very big issue for older people. So for keys to useful e-health, you have to have a very useful, easy, simple, accessible information, secure, and selected information with assured quality, less stress with initial use, training, no training, and lower barriers. So this is why IPTV or TV set will be a very good interface for e-health, especially for the aged people, because of these features. And luckily, because of the standardization, we now have devices that can talk to each other, standardized. So many e-health devices and consumer devices are making, manufacturers are making standard compliant devices such as pedometer, weight scale, blood pressure cuff, glucose monitor, and things like that. They're already available in the retail market. You can buy them off the market. So what we can do is just connect them with IPTV, with the gateway, and the data will be stored on the cloud. And what happens is something like this. So you can have standardized e-health healthcare devices connected with this server, which will be shown, the analysis will be shown on the IPTV or the smart TV as a graph. And if there is something outstanding happens, you can use your smartphone to call or send the graph to your physician, your doctor. And such an application is extremely useful for patients with chronic ailments such as diabetes, because they don't have to, open your PC or, unusable devices, but you can use just the remote to monitor your own health. So now the conclusion. Standards are important for smart TV market. IPTV can be a feature that drives smart TV market. ITU has standardized IPTV featuring both passive active viewing, which supports interactivity, security, managed service, and QoS, which can also be used for the internet. Smart TV and IPTV can be considered a universal interface usable without special training appropriate for daily use. An important area is of IoT, Internet of Things, and M2M. Relevant to smart TV is e-health, especially for the aged population. And smart TV can and should become a hub of this new trend. Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much.